This is to introduce you to a new tool we've built recently in EDDMapS. We've had a lot of folks that actually wanted to report a species that was fairly common, but they don't have all the occurrence data to back it up and specimens that have been collected over time. But they do have a lot of people with some expertise, and they know where a pest has been. The general idea is we would send out a request to all those experts asking them to say where they've seen this pest in the past. That would go in as a personal communication or a form of literature. From that, we can look at the literature data or their personal communications versus field observations to be able to validate some of what they were saying. We can also use that as a way to say there's a need for more surveys or some background information to help further validate the data. Here's how the process works. First, someone goes in and selects individuals they want to send it to. And they select the number of species that they want to hear about. After they've selected their species, they provide a message and submit the form. What this just did in the background was send an email to the individuals that were listed. That email contains distinct links for each species. These are one-time use links that allow them to go in and report on a given taxon. Once they've clicked on the link, it takes them to a map, and they just click and drag to highlight the counties that they say they've seen that species in. Further down, they can set down the report date. It's currently defaulted to today for when they were making their personal communication. And then they can also put in comments for what they'd like to say about it. When they're done, they hit submit, and they get a preview showing what their personal communication was. This is also attached to all the records that were just created for this, so that when someone comes back to look at where this information came from, they can actually see the original data. If I were to go look on EDDMapS right after making my report, I would actually see the data that's been recorded. Clicking on the county shows me the full data for that and has citations for who made the communication and a link back to that original page talking about this personal communication. What's more is that when looking at this, we can also go to a map which looks at literature versus observations, with all yellow showing up as the literature reports. For a map for different species, such as kudzu, this tells a more compelling story of where they've seen literature, observations, or both literature and observations.